Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to the Gypsy Jazz Hangouts podcast. So, 2020 has been, I think you'll agree, a pretty crap year for pretty much everyone. But what you might not know is that there's been loads of fantastic Gypsy Jazz music releases here, absolutely loads. So, I called up a couple of mates over Zoom and we discussed our favourite Gypsy Jazz albums that were released in the last 12 months. And we have a nice drink, have a nice chat about them, and we pick some of our favourite tracks and have a listen to them. So, before we start that, I've got 3 favours I want to ask you. Number 1, if you're watching this on YouTube, please give the video a like. It's just a little click of the button. It's right there. Just give it a click. Number 2, if you're really feeling crazy, you can hit the subscribe button. That should be just next to the like button. Just give it a little click. That'd be great. But most importantly, number 3, please consider buying the music that you're going to hear on this episode of the podcast. It's been obviously a really difficult year for the musicians. They've produced so much brilliant music this year that you're going to enjoy, that I've been enjoying, we've all been enjoying. So why not, Christmas spirit. There'll be links in the description. Please, you can find it on Bandcamp. You can download the MP3 of the album, or if you're really cool and old school, you can get the physical CD. I think you can get 1 or 2 of these on vinyl, actually, which is pretty cool. But either way, it's a great thing to be supporting musicians, regardless of COVID. It's just a good thing to do, isn't it? So please consider following the links in the description and get yourself the album. Okay, let's get on with it. So, yep, all the best for 2020. Good luck. I'll see you on the other side. And here we go, episode 11 of the Gypsy Jazz Hangouts podcast. Cheers. So I'm joined here by 2 fine gentlemen, fine upstanding members of the Gypsy Jazz community. To my left on the computer, it's Joe Morris. How are you, Joe?
Hi, yeah, I'm good, thanks.
There you go, thanks for coming on. Joe, an old friend of mine from the days in York. We used to play in a really fantastic trio. It was really top jaw stuff. And you're doing a bit of playing with
Nigel Wheeler in Norwich.
Right. Yeah. What's the group called?
Reverie Quartet.
That's right. Yeah.
So he used to run the jam up in Pinner, but then he moved to Norwich around the same time I moved back to Norwich from York. And we met up and started playing together.
Excellent. And to my south, the man himself,
really?
Andy. How are you, man?
Very well, thank you. Hello, nice to see you.
Good, man. Andy is good friends with Toby Medland, and the 2 of them are the masterminds behind the 2020 London Gypsy Jazz Festival London, I should say. Obviously, the 2021 couldn't happen because COVID, but I'm hearing...
2021?
Well, there you go. I'm hearing there's a 2021 one on the grapevine. Is that a thing that's happening?
That's in the planning stages.
Yes.
And,
can you tell me anything about it? Can you give me any gossip on that?
No, not really. Not really. No, not at this point. I mean, only that we're going to get you to run a jam session. So I guess I can tell you that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you'd have to tell me at some point, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, you're doing it whether you want to or not.
Yeah. There you go. Well, look, lads, thanks a lot for coming down and joining us. So yeah, 2020. There's been some cool albums. Andy, what have you been listening to, mate?
Well, scene setting. In the summer, I was in Somerset with my girlfriend and her family, and she lives there. And I was kind of like, I took the role of head chef on myself because it was something to do. And so I'd always want to put music on. Mm-hmm. And usually if I put Gypsy Jazz on, she's got like teenage kids, it would raise eyebrows. And then Adrien Moignard, The Ledge, released an album. So that was all very exciting. And I looked at the track listing and I thought, well, this is going all over the place and it's got singing and stuff. Let's try that. So I snuck it on while I'm cooking and it went down pretty well. So the first track is Paul Simon's classic 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover.
Oh, yeah. And so this is Cyril Ami is doing the vocals on this?
Yeah. She's class. She's the real deal.
Pretty cool. Do you remember that time we were trying out the guitars in one of the tents at Samoa and she was like hanging around and we wanted to ask her to sing with us, but we didn't have the courage.
Me?
We were trying to.
I don't remember.
And she was just she was just like in one of the stalls, like a little bit further up, and we were like, "Oh, we should ask her to play Well You Needn't," because she does that really good version.
Vaguely, I remember. I think I might have imbibed quite heavily that evening, and it's not clear in my memory, but.
Yeah, this is a cool album. This is with Hot Club Records, legendary Hot Club Records. And there's lots of different stuff, right? There's Gypsy Jazz tunes and obviously a few pop tunes as well, like this Paul Simon tune.
It's brilliant.
Well, I mean, look, it's Adrien Moignard is such an impressive improviser. You're always going to get some pretty good stuff, no matter what tune he's playing on. But I like this because it's got obviously Paul Simon and things like that, which is obviously very different to Gypsy Jazz. But he does a really lovely version of I Surrender Dear. There's a version of Rhythm Future with this guy singing it. It sounds kind of wacky, but it's really, really fun.
San Severino. He's a bit crazy. He's a bit of a legend in France, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he sounds it.
Like that. He has kind of gypsy pop kind of songs that he sings.
Okay.
I think he plays with Stockel Rosenberg a bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's been around.
He's the guy.
Yeah, he sung on the small stage at Samoa last year or 2 years ago in the Village, I think.
Yeah, man. Okay, well, let's have a listen to it then. So here we go. 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover, Adrien Moignard. Check it out.
The problem is all inside your head, she said to me. The answer is easy if you take it logically. I'd like to help you in your struggle to be free. There must be 50 ways to leave your lover. She said it's really not my habit to intrude. I hope my meaning won't be lost or misconstrued. But I'll repeat myself at the risk of being crude. There must be 50 ways to leave your lover. 50 ways to leave your lover. Slip out the back, check, make a new plan, stand. Don't need to be coy, Roy, just listen to me. Hop on the bus, Gus, you don't need to discuss much. Just drop off the key, leave, and get yourself free. She said it grieves me so to see you in such pain. I wish there was something I could do to make you smile again. I said I appreciate that, and won't you please explain about the 50 ways to leave your lover. 50 ways to leave your lover. She said, why don't we both just sleep on it tonight? And I believe that in the morning you'll see the light. And then she kissed me and I realized she was right. There must be 50 ways to leave your lover. 50 ways to leave your lover. 50 ways to leave your lover. Slip out the back, Jack, make a new plan, stand. Don't need to be coy, Roy, just listen to me. Hop on the bus, Gus, you don't need to discuss much. Just drop off the key, me, and get yourself free. Just slip out the back, Jack, make a new plan, stand. You don't need to be coy, Roy, just listen to me. Hop on the bus, Gus, you don't need to discuss much. Just drop off the key, me, and get yourself free. The bus, Gus, you don't need to discuss much. Just drop off the key and get yourself free.
Like, you know, if I had a club, a Gypsy Jazz club or whatever, there'd be a sign on the door just saying no politics. Do you know what I mean? And I'd literally have bouncers kicking you out.
But like, what about when Django recorded the, you know, the Marseillaise? Like, there's always politics. Politics is life.
No, right. I'm banning you. Get out of my podcast. All right. Never mind. Carry on. So that was lovely. Adrien Moignard doing his thing. Cyril Army, good as always. I saw Cyril Army at Pizza Express once. It was really good. Yeah, it was like a year or two ago with just a jazz quartet, like a pianist and a trumpet player.
Oh, I thought you meant you just bumped into her.
Oh, no, that would have been great, eh? No.
What's the order?
So that was fun. So look, that was one. Now I'm going to choose one now. And there was a podcast episode we did earlier on, a bit like this Zoom call with Michael Joseph Harris, the American guitar player. Now, the original plan was he was going to come to the UK and do a little bit of a tour, and we couldn't do it because of COVID, obviously. But we were going to do a little gig at the Post Bar together. We're going to do a podcast in the afternoon, like at my house, and then do a gig at the Post Bar afterwards. And I was really gutted to miss out on that. But hopefully in the future when he's next in town. But he had just come out with this album called Tangent, and this is with his band Ultrafaux. I should have asked him how it's pronounced. But
I want to know about that too. It's meant to be a pun, right? On Ultrafaux, but it should be Ultrafaux.
I don't know. And I literally talked to him for like 2 hours. I could have just asked him, but I never did. Anyway, I think this is a fantastic album. It's about 12 tracks, all originals of Michael's. And there's so many different... I didn't really realize how many different genres you could kind of get in what is essentially Gypsy Jazz format. There's loads. So the title track, Tangent, is kind of funky. It's almost like Sissy Strut in the way it sounds and feels. There's one, Je ne sais pas, I think it's called, which is this kind of haunting, slow waltz with all this kind of whole tone stuff, and it's heavy and it's cool and it's brilliant. And loads of great playing. It's got Giacomo Schmidt was in town when he was recording, and he managed to, and he managed to get in touch with him and get him for a few sessions. Jason Anik plays some violin as well. It's really cool. It's I think it's a fantastic album, Mike.
Yeah, I love this number that you've picked. It's brilliant. It's
so good, isn't it? And a lot of the tunes of this album, they start off as one thing and then they kind of turn into something else kind of in the middle. They go off in different directions. It's surprising and different, but it's always quite satisfying. It never feels interrupted. It just kind of works. And this tune has this slow kind of, not too slow, but like kind of slow sort of almost marching bit with this nice melody. And then it kind of kicks into this very kind of gypsy up-tempo kind of thing with the guitar and the violin kind of doubling up. It's cool. I mean, I really love it, you know? Excellent. Yeah, so we're going to have a listen to this. Here we go. And if you want to know more about the band and Michael Joseph Harris, there is a podcast episode from the past, episode
But you won't learn how to pronounce it.
Yeah, exactly. Episode 4 or 5, I can't remember which. Cool interview, cool guy. And he actually does some playing as well. He does some playing just over Zoom. Obviously, it's Zoom quality microphone, but you can hear us playing, and he's an incredible improviser, amazing. So here we go. This track is called Pseudo Nemesis. Here we go. Around all the Sam Smith pubs. The cheapest pub crawl in the world. Well, the Soundsmith pubs up north are absolute dumps. They're just falling apart. They're horrible. Then I come to London and it's like
the 180 a pint.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then I come to London and they're in these beautiful Victorian old buildings. They're really nice.
Isn't the Old Cheshire Cheese a Soundsmith pub?
What's that? Sorry?
On the Strand, the Old Cheshire Cheese, the one that goes down.
Maybe. I don't know. I've not been there.
In the world.
Yeah, it could be. Well, hey, that was mint. What a cool tune, eh?
Mm.
Yeah, so what do we think pseudo-nemesis means? Does it mean like they're not actually your nemesis, or does it mean they're a bit of a spook, the person that's your nemesis?
I'll have to ask him that next time. Do you know what else as well? I don't know if he was joking. There's 2 tracks in there. One's called Alcatraz and one's called Racer X, right? Now, Alcatraz was the name of Yngwie Malmsteen's first band. And another big shredder, Paul Gilbert, his first band was called Racer X. So I just presumed it must be something to do with those 2. And I asked him, he was just like, no, absolutely nothing. I was like, really?
That's in the Sky with Diamonds story. It's like, really?
Yeah. Joe, mate, it's your turn. What you got?
Yeah, so I've got an album by the Gypsy Messengers called The Gypsy Messengers. 3 violins, I think, 2 tenor violins and a normal violin.
Yeah.
Guitar, and then some guests. So the track I've picked is Stomping at the Savoy, and the guest is Rob Fish on clarinet.
Rob Fish, who we know very well.
Yeah, we used to play with him back in the York days quite often.
Back in the York days, yeah.
The days of York.
Yeah. You know what? Rob Fish was one of the first people I met who was also into gypsy jazz.
Didn't you meet him at a play or something?
Yeah, so there was a play going on in York, Important to Be in Earnest, but they set it in like the 30s, kind of like a Great Gatsby 20s thing or whatever. So they had the play, and then they had a little duo in the corner who would play music occasionally. There was a few singing numbers, and we just kind of accompany the drama or whatever. And I was at the time, Rob Fish was playing clarinet. And I remember the first day I met him, he's oh, Gypsy, do you like Django? Oh my God, do you like Django as well? And we were there all day. We had 2 performances in the day. And every spare second that we had, it was just like, oh, do you know this tune? Oh, yeah, cool. Every second. And then in between the 2 shows, we went and bussed outside the theatre and then made a bit of money. And then it was a really cool day. Yeah, excellent. But yeah, it's cool album. Yeah, that 3 violin thing. Yeah, was it? I've got it. Yeah, 2 tenor violins and a violin. So I guess a tenor violin is like just sort of a bigger violin.
I'm not sure.
I mean, I don't know. Soprano, alto, tenor, bass, or the other way. So. And what is a regular violin? Is that like soprano?
I guess alto.
Yeah, I suppose alto. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. They sound mint.
Has Savoy had a resurgence, or has it never really gone away? Do you think?
It's definitely had a resurgence. It's become a massively popular tune.
We had it on our Gypsy Jazz Festival London charity album.
You did?
Yeah. Brilliant version.
Who was on that version again?
Filippo D'Asta and Nigel Price.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That was a great album. Shout out to that album, the Festival 2020 album.
Yeah, man.
Loads of good players on that. And it was a lovely thing, you know, COVID, no one can do gigs anymore, you know, the world's going to hell, and then all the musos pull together and make this lovely album. It's cool, man.
They all sent their tracks to Toby, didn't they? And he put it all together.
And I think that's actually its best quality, because, you know, compilation albums are hit and miss, right? But because in this case it all went via the same producer, it all kind of gels together as a piece.
Yeah.
Works in its favour. It's nice.
It's a brilliant album. But that's for another time, because now we're going to play Stomping at the Savoy, the Gypsy Mess. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, you have to go out and buy all these albums. You can't just be listening to them. Please, there's going to be links in the description. Get clicking, get buying. And look, some of these albums are, I mean, this album, for example, you can get it on Bandcamp for €10 now.
Bandcamp is the best. Wait till Friday, until they do their first special Friday, when they give all that money to the artists. I can't remember if it's the first or the last of the month or something like that.
That's a very good point. Yes, indeed. Make sure, if you can make it happen, make sure the artists are going to be getting the most money for it. But this one's like €10. That's like a couple of pints. Do you know what I mean? It's like a couple of pints. It's like buying your mates pints. It's good.
I always do it in pints too.
Excellent. So here we go. Yeah. Stomping at the Savoy, the Gypsy Messengers with Rob Fish. Here we go.
definitely. Rob Fish, beautiful player,
Excellent.
lovely inflections
Totally
in his
excellent,
melodies and stuff. He's just wonderful. But I spent a lot of time with Lucy at Samoa. Well, not last year, actually, the year before, obviously, because of COVID. But,
yeah, of course, yeah.
She's a massive Clifford Brown. Sorry?
Lucy from the Jazz Messengers.
From the Gypsy Messengers, yeah, Lucy Southern.
Cool.
But she, I'm guessing she chose the Spring Joy track, which is another highlight on that album. And yeah, seems very appropriate during current COVID times. Looking forward to the spring. But she's a wonderful violinist. All three of them are wonderful violinists. Brilliant album. Really nice to hear that sort of lineup as well.
Well, it's true. And you know what else I really like about it is the fact that, so Gypsy Jazz, one of its great strengths is that it's a pretty fixed and simple kind of setup where it's like chords and improvising on top of it pretty much. And we love that. But what happens is you tend to get albums where it's just that for every tune. I like it when they go to a bit of effort to like make some cool arrangements and stuff.
Definitely. There's some lovely counter melodies and harmonies in some of those tunes as well. He's done Artur's done a brilliant job of arranging some of those tunes. They're just, the whole album's brilliant. Buy it.
Absolutely. Yeah, buy it. Yeah, I keep forgetting to say buy the album, man. Excellent. So whose turn is it? My turn? No. Andy?
Oh yeah, I'll go, yeah.
All right, Andy, your turn. Let's have it. What you got?
It's by the Aurore Voilqué trio with Angelo Debarre. And it's Am I Blue, which is an old standard. And I think it's a really soulful vocal, but really understated. And like, it's not an original opinion to say that in gypsy jazz, I don't know, vocals can go, one way or another. And like, it seems like a lot of the old school gypsy players prefer a really straight singer, really straight. And definitely Django did. He was on record, I think, saying doesn't like any of the stuff, the business, the singing, just sing the melody and then we'll be happy. And this person, Aurore Voilqué, she just sings it so straight, so beautifully, and it instantly hit me. It was like, that's how you're supposed to sing a standard like this. Just beautiful. And then because I was looking into the tune, and loads of people have covered it, but it was apparently in 4 films the year it was written. Apparently, and also Cher did a cover, which is awful. Just awful.
Cher did a cover.
Cher did a cover in like 75 or whatever.
Can we put that on now instead? I really want to hear it.
It's just awful. I'm definitely not snobbish about music, and I'm not particularly against Cher. And in fact, I like her auto-tune stuff. I think that was really cool.
Hey,
this is terrible. It's not good.
Do you believe in Love After Love? That was literally one of the first CDs I think I ever had. I think I asked my mum for it. It's like a you used to get like a CD single, so it's like 3 tracks on a CD.
Okay, when I said I wasn't a music snob.
Oh, it's a belter. I love that track.
Yeah, it's great, and I really like that vocoder thing. There's well, it's not vocoder, is it? It's auto-tune, but
whatever it is, robot Cher. That's my.
I think it's
kind
really,
of Cher.
it's distant and cold, and sort of it makes all sorts of interesting characters.
But anyway, never mind that. You've got me sidetracked thinking about Cher, right? This is a cool album, and you've got great, Thomas Dutronc is on it. I think is that how you said Dutronc. I don't know, I'm an idiot. Angelo Debarre, of course, absolute top of the tree, the main man. It's really good, and like, it's fun because these guys are very much like the Paris guys. They're right in the scene.
Yeah, same rhythm players on the Adrien Moignard album.
Right, yeah, and it's kind of fun looking at the Paris scene from the outside and seeing the different combination of who's playing on whose record, and Angelo's on this one. So there's a lot of cool stuff to discover and check out with this record, I think. Yeah.
Rhythm player Mathieu Chatelain, who's he's the Jeremy Coulon of Paris. Jeremy Coulon of Paris.
Yeah, all those. If you go onto YouTube and type in almost any tune or almost any gypsy jazz player with a tune, you'll find a video of them playing it or Petit Jeu with your man on rhythm and Daniel John Martin on violin. Like, he's just always there, Excellent. Right, well, let's have a listen to this. Here we go. Am I Blue? Check it out. And buy it. Don't forget to buy it.
Am I blue? Am I blue? And this tears in my eyes telling you am I blue? You'd be too if each plan with your man don't feel through. Was a I was the only one, but now there's sad and lonely was I gay. Till today, now it's gone and we are through. Am I blue?
Tune, or almost any gypsy jazz player with a tune, you'll find a video of them playing at or Petit Jeu with your man on rhythm and Daniel John Martin on violin. Like, he's just always there, you know. Excellent. Right, well, let's have a listen to this. Here we go. Am I Blue? Check it out and buy it. Don't forget to buy it.
Am I blue? Am I blue? And this tears in my eyes telling you am I blue? You'd be too if each plan with your man don't feel through. Was a done. I was the only one, but now they're sad and lonely, lonely was again. Till today, now it's gone and we are through. On my blue.
the peg's broken. Just the little button.
Oh, really?
The actual button has broken. They're the originals from the 50s or whatever. And
Right.
And I've messaged Killy Nonis, who I don't know. And I said, I hope you don't mind me asking, on Diplock's advice, actually. And he said, yeah, just send it to me. And so he wants me to unscrew the plate. And I'm too nervous to do it.
Oh, God. Yeah, I would just send him the guitar, get him to do it.
Well, I said, I don't know how to get the instrument to you because I don't drive and, COVID, blah, blah. And he said, you don't need to. Just send me the thing. And I'm like, huh? He said, put the screwdriver in and tighten it first, and then it should come out.
Oh,
like,
God, no. Mate, I get nervous just trying to restring a guitar because I think the string's going to snap in my face. Do you know what I mean?
I can
unscrewing
the sound as I make a turn too much or whatever.
Oh, no,
unscrewing old screws is horrible anyway.
Yeah.
Like any time I've tried to do that, I've stripped them.
It's like trying to get me out of bed on a morning. Like it's seriously reluctant,
Yeah, but I really want it back.
Is it not? Could you not just glue it back on? Because I've done that once. I mean, obviously, it maybe wasn't as nice a guitar as yours, but
I'm not worried about that. I can't see how glue's going to hold. It's the peg slapped down the middle.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Plus, then it'll be stuck to the peg, won't it?
And so, what's Killy going to do? Just build a new one?
I think he's got some. He said, don't bother buying any, because I found some online after quite a lot of searching. But they got a hole in already, and he says if they've got a hole in already, don't bother because it's just never going to fit them.
Right.
He's going to
interesting.
drill.
Is it the round yellow ones?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Interesting.
And there was one person in France that kind of sells replicas that look pretty convincing.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Harry Diplock, who gave you that advice, my next choice is going to be an album that I think everyone's been talking about loads, the London Django Collective. So these are the guys, top players in London, got together and wanted to do an album. And funny enough, we had Harry on the podcast like in the summer. We didn't film it, which I should have done, but I didn't. Whatever. But you can get it on Spotify, whatever.
I listened. It was great.
It was really enjoyable. I really
enjoyed you guys refusing to play a concert for the desperate and hungry audience.
Well, do you know what? There was some people came out and was like, hey, guitars, are you going to play us a tune? Play us one we know. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, even in COVID with social distancing, I'm still getting those requests. Like, I don't know how that's happening. But anyway, so I was talking to Harry about it, and he was saying, we want to get together and do some recording. And, we thought about doing some standards and stuff, but they thought, well, you got the Selma guys in Paris, and they're pretty good, and there's good players out there, and everybody's heard a lot of people playing nice guitar over standards. So they thought we should write some stuff. And so what they did is they each took a turn to write 2 tunes, and then they released them bit by bit. So I think Harry's was like volume 1.
Yeah,
volume 1 was Harry Diplock. Volume 2 was Robin Katz. Volume 3 was Matt Holborn, the violin player. 4 was Kourosh Kanani, and 5 was Jeremy Coulon. And also they did like a bonus track, which had Giacomo Schmidt on clarinet. And then the bass playing duties were shared between Pete Thomas and Simon Reed. Now, I think this is just mint because, number one, the improvising is just top class. It's world class. It's right up there with all the Paris boys, in my opinion. And I know that they were like looking over at those Selma guys and, that's pretty good. And I kind of wonder if the guys in Paris are looking at them going, the London Django Collective. Who are these kids? I wonder if they must be aware. I mean,
we at the Gypsy Jazz Festival of London, we were definitely thinking of getting them both on the same bill.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be complete overload, but it'd be hilarious.
Oh, God, it'd be fun. What a night. You'd have to get in amongst that. Do you know what I mean? That'd be good.
The audience would be sort of 100% guitar players, but that's fine.
Yeah. That's great. Oh, that would be fun. Just to have them all in the same room. I mean, the gig would be fun, but I'd just be more interested to like the bar, like seeing them all hanging out in the same room. It'd be fun.
Like Patonk.
Yeah. But so obviously the improvising is really amazing. They're all top players, but I think the compositions are really fun. That's some really interesting stuff. Obviously we're going to listen to one of Harry's Samuro, which is a really fast up tempo, just ripping tune.
I asked him about the tune, like shortly after it had come out. I think we were at Kansas Smitty's or whatever, and I said, that song is ridiculously catchy. I mean, it's ridiculous. And he looked at me and goes, yeah, I know.
Excellent. Yeah, it's really cool. And then Sanguine, I think is how it's pronounced. He also has a lovely ballad. They're all good stuff. I mean, particularly like Matt Holborn's one, Carte Blanche, which is a really interesting tune, and it kind of changes around. It's not fast. It's kind of about there. And
Is that the one where they keep like the really steady beat, like
yeah. It's got these kind of funny, kind of wandering melodies, and then it keeps coming back to this kind of
And I really like that rhythm section, especially if you see them live. So you've got all of them. You've got this sort of super group of guitar players, right? And they're all just going, and it's like, it's kind of, you know, like a lot of criticism of gypsy jazz is like the rhythm playing, ching, 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 ching. It's like, yeah, that's what it is. And we're not going to stop. It's like this relentless thing.
Absolutely. It's loads of cool stuff. There's a really nice one, Marrakesh by Kourosh. And it's like in 7/8 at times. And it's really interesting. It's really fresh. It's new. It's original. But again, it still feels like gypsy jazz. Like if you heard it, you're aware that it's come from that world, you know.
Yeah.
But it's doing something else. So I think it's bloody well good. So we're going to listen to some. Here we go. If we can get it up here. Here we are. So this is Samaro, Volume 1 of the London Django Collective, written by Harry Diplock. Buy it. Don't mess around. Bandcamp.
The spirit of the Samaro jam, which I think it really, really does.
Absolutely.
Like that, the tempo and just the feel of it. You can imagine it lasting for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, just over and over.
It's brilliant stuff. Guys, enjoy.
almost dropped it. It's I won't play. I can't play it.
No, go on, play it.
I mean,
Hang on. All right, carry on.
Give us mine a swing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah. There it is.
So I'm making a piece of music at the moment, and it's kind of the whole last 3 minutes of it is just the groove, because I think it's brilliant. I just love it, and I just get lost in it. And I'm thinking, other people might not be so keen. You know, they might want something. I thought, well, what can go there? I'd like a sax solo, which is not something I've ever really thought before. Sax solo, fuck off. Anyway,
Jeez, we've got to get rid of that sax solo.
I don't like that, so I found this, but it's not really working.
Yeah. You know, I don't know why London Django Collective hasn't found room for a melodica yet. I mean, what the hell? You're right on the doorstep, man.
I want to say James Brown, the pianist, but it might not be him. But there's one guy that does play a mean bebop melodica. I mean, he's shit hot, and it's brilliant. It works really well, especially.
Oh, it sounds mint, because I mean, it's a sound not miles away from like an accordion reedy sound.
Yeah, and harmonic halfway between, isn't it?
But isn't there there's an Angelo Debarre live?
Oh, Ludovic Bayer.
I don't know.
He's
the guy that usually plays but an accordion. But you know the live one where they're sat around that kind of caravan, that kind of fake fire thing in the middle, and it starts off. Angelo's playing that solo version of that old Gypsy tune,
The View to Zan or whatever.
Yeah, I think Thomas Dutronc turns up at some point singing a bit. But there's that guy, that accordion player.
He's called Ludovic Bayer or Beer.
Okay, that's the guy. Yeah. He's everywhere. Like he plays with them all, right? But
they recorded an album with him on melodica as well, I think.
Right.
On some tracks.
He plays a lot of melodica, and he played melodica on. I think they played Misty, and he plays it, and it sounds so good. Now I don't know because I mean you can get melodicas on like Amazon for like 20 quid, right? I don't know if you can get like a fucking $4,000 melodica or something that just sounds really good. I don't know. I mean, how good can a melodica get? Maybe.
No, I think they do top out quite soon.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of their beauty, isn't it? Like,
right, yeah.
They're portable. They're really easy. You know, you make like a bit like with a piano. You put your finger on a button and you've made music.
Yeah, totally. You don't have to do fucking rest stroke picking or double downs and none of that business. Right then.
But so hang on, just to stay with LDC for one moment.
Yeah.
You know, you were saying about the new festival and what can we say? So the last festival, they were going to open at the Vortex because they embody everything we want to accomplish with the the festival. So we're hoping to get that happening again. So that's one thing we'll say. We want them to open the festival because they are so much the prime London scene.
So you think you're going to get those guys for 2021?
With a bit of luck. Nothing's confirmed. I probably shouldn't say this. In fact, you should probably edit this out. I haven't asked the Vortex and I haven't asked them. So
to be fair, the Gypsy Jazz Festival in London, almost by definition, should have the London Django Collective, right?
Yeah. To me, they embody why I want to do the festival because for my money, they can hang in any jam session. Do you know what I mean? But the fact that mainstream jazz has some sort of issue with this, or Gypsy jazz players have some sort of issue with mainstream jazz, really annoys me. Like, I would love to see Kuros sitting down at Ronnie's jam at sort of 11:30 or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and I think this is what the newer generation, shall we say, that there is much influence by Borelli and I guess by Moignard. I mean, obviously he's later than Borelli, obviously, but as much influence by them as they are Django and
by Thelonious Monk and all the rest of them.
Yeah, right, exactly. And I think it is fun to think that the top Gypsy Jazz players, they could play in any jam. Of course they could. And yeah.
And then there's this other element where the sort of the modern rhythm to this music has, when it wants to get away from the bouncy swing with the upstroke, it's got this new sleek kind of compressed feeling, non-stop kind of thing, which I love. It's almost like dance music.
What do you think about that, Joe? Because I mean, you're a rhythm player, really, in the scene. That's kind of your thing. Like, are you a big fan of the scene?
I wouldn't say I'm in the scene. Petty Barbeau, not Samurai. Yeah, I get it. I suppose I am more of a traditionalist than most people. Boo traditional, but I don't know. I think, like we mentioned him earlier, Mathieu Chatelain, amazing rhythm player. Like, And I think I get what you're saying, but it's different rhythms for different tracks, isn't it? I think that's the key thing, and that's the key thing you get from Django as well. Is like they use very different rhythm styles for a lot of those different tracks, and I don't mean like, you know, bossa and straight or whatever, but like actual different feels to the rhythm, and that's it, isn't it? I mean, you can't really have.
Yeah, it's horses for courses, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally.
So that's my opinion.
Yeah.
But I do. Yeah,
Noted.
and that's so much the truth, isn't it? Like, you got the swingy ones and the bouncy ones, and then you got the really clipped ones with no kind of like fiddling around and all. And then you got the really draggy ones with the long 1 and 3, you know, which is kind of, you know, you have to be really good to pull it off and not make it bad. But then you've got now, I think, the separate new thing, which is just the clipped, you know, like almost no distinction in dynamics between all the beats and just.
Yeah,
I don't think that's that. I don't know if it's that new. Like it's
probably not, yeah.
But the very clipped feeling to it is quite new, I guess. But like that, the sort of lack of distinction between the 1 and the 2 is quite similar to like Dorado Schmidt or someone, like the sort of German Alsace rhythm, isn't it? I mean, that's what I would say.
You know,
which I love, but it only works on certain. I don't think it works on everything, I guess, is what I would say.
You see, sometimes Gypsy Jazz rhythm players have gotten it sort of fine-tuned to the point where sometimes I've shown someone a track and it's maybe double bass, Gypsy Jazz rhythm player, like a sax player, and then a lead guitar player. And they've genuinely thought it was a drummer. They just thought it was brushes. Right?
Yeah.
They've really cut back on how long you expose the harmony, the chord or whatever. And it does sound cool, you know, but then part of me is like, well, you know, it's nice to be able to illustrate the, horses for courses, and it depends what tune, depends what kind of atmosphere you're trying to conjure up, I guess. I
think it can sound very cool if you have another guitarist accompanying as well and adding just like little flavors and touches over the top of it. Because then that's sort of like having a drummer and a pianist, I guess.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
but, yeah. I mean, that sort of leads us into the next tune or the next album.
Have we just done a fantastic segue? Oh, yes. We should be on the radio, guys. Come on, Joe. Lay it on me. What you got?
So the next album's Fapy Lafertin's 2020 album. The new quartet. New quartet.
And the album's called
Atlântico.
Atlântico, yeah.
Great cover, I felt.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I did
cover.
like it, actually. It kind of works. It's like a sort of... Well, I presume it's like almost like a hotel that's kind of old and falling apart a little bit. Yeah, it suits the album, man.
It needs to be more kind of mid-90s Americana indie sensibility.
But it's brilliant album and quite... I mean, as I say, I guess I am more of a traditionalist, although I love some of the sort of more interesting stuff as well. But Fapy Lafertin, for me, marries that perfectly. He's traditional, but he's doing sort of interesting stuff as well. And this album's really influenced by Brazilian music. Wonderful album. The track I chose is Cinzano, which I think is a vermouth. I like to hear. That's a drink. It is a drink. Yeah, booze.
I used to buy bottles of it because we could afford it when we were like at school and stuff. Like
Is that the sort of drink it is? It's like sheds. A sort of. It's not a high-end drink. It's more like a sort of special brew or
it's like an
2020.
It's like an imitation cocktail, one of those kind of things. Yeah, it's like you'd use it in things, but on its own, it's not very useful.
Oh, pretty harsh.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant track, and I love hearing sort of written tracks on Gypsy Jazz albums with less improvisation. It just makes for like a slightly different sort of feel. But yeah, brilliant track, brilliant album. Buy it.
Well, I got in touch with all the artists that have been featured thus far, and we got permission from all of them. Although I'm actually still waiting for permission for one. I won't say who, but they all said they'd love to be on the thing, and I've bought them all as well. So we've got every base covered. I think this album's mint. So Fapy Lafertin, legend. We all know him. We all love him, and he's actually more known for being a traditionalist and very much a Django player. More of a Django player than Gypsy Jazz player, I would say. Like, it's not like...
I think he gets quite cross, doesn't he, about some of the new guard. He's one of them.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't like the sort of. I guess the way he's rather than sort of traditional, he's melodic, and I don't like the use of the word traditional to sort of like push aside like sort of lovely melodic playing with like lots of space in it.
And I'd like to say that traditional is not a dirty word.
No,
I mean,
no,
traditional
true.
is, and like I say, for me, he's very much a Django player, more so than a Gypsy Jazz player. Because Gypsy Jazz has been around for a long time. It's had a lot of different influence, and again, like he sounds more like Django than say Stoholo or even Angelo.
Yeah, that's true.
He's very much a Django, and it's a beautiful, beautiful guitar player and a virtuoso and the whole works. Fapy is amazing. I mean, but he's here now, and he's teamed up with his new quartet, and these are some more kind of conservatoire kind of players we've got, and I've written them down because I can't remember how to pronounce the name. Cedric Raymond on the double bass, Renaud Dardenne, I can't read my own handwriting, it's terrible, isn't it? On guitar, and Alexandre Tripodi, all very nice chaps. I was talking to them on Facebook this week, and so they have a more influences from outside Gypsy Jazz as well as Gypsy Jazz, and they've all written tunes. Most of these tunes, I think there's like 4 Fapy Lafertin tunes, and I think each of the guys write their own, and they're all brilliant, and they all have a wonderful atmosphere to their own. This isn't a track where this isn't an album where you get to sort of track 8 and it feels like you've already heard this track somewhere else on the album. Everyone has a wonderful atmosphere and sound. I've been listening to this album like every day for a while now, and I just think it's absolutely fantastic. It also includes a brilliant cover of It's Alright With Me, the Cole Potter tune, and a brilliant version of La Belle Vie, which is just beautiful.
I love it.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. That was it. I love La Belle Vie.
Yeah, beautiful tune. But it also includes, for mine and Neil's mutual friend, a cover of Japanese Sandman.
Play Japanese Sandman! Yeah.
What's the story here? What's the anecdote? You've said it like...
We have a really good friend in York who loves the tune Japanese Sandman and would always call it. So,
but like it would be like he would come into the gig kind of late, and sometimes there was a place called Satano, which is like downstairs underground jazz cellar vibe, cool place, and he would just be at the back of the room just like kind of drunk, and we'd be playing and he would just shout Japanese Sandman. He'd just be shouting it, Japanese Sandman, and everyone's like, what the fuck is
quite a random sort of couple of words to be shouting.
I know. Well, I mean, like even most jazz musicians don't know what that means,
I've seen it, I've definitely heard it. I couldn't sing it to you.
Yeah, well,
is it good too?
It's all right. I mean, it's like an old 20s tune, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those. And he always requested the verse. You know how these standards, like the standards, the tune that we all know is essentially like the chorus, but there's like a verse. It's really long, almost like libretto kind of. But he always like, oh, do you not know the verse? Like, don't come to my gig and ask for the verse. No verses, no politics. Get out. All right. Well, let's hear it. This is a lovely, lovely waltz. Cinzano. Here we go. Buy it. All right, well, here we go. That was pretty much all we've got time for. But hey, wasn't that fun? And look, 2020, it's not been that bad. Listen to all that good music. That was good, wasn't it?
And buy it.
Oh, God, please buy it. Jesus Christ, I can't stress that enough. Buy it. You know, the musicians have had a pretty bloody tough year, so they really appreciate it. And look, you're listening to it. Of course you listen to it. It's mint. You've been listening to it all year. Just chuck them a bit of money. Why not? It's like, how much does coffee cost nowadays? I don't drink coffee. How much does it cost if you go to Costa Coffee and buy some crappy...
Oh, one of those coffees. God knows. Yeah, about the price of a Bandcamp album.
There you go. One less coffee. It's probably better for your health, and you get a lovely album to restore your spiritual whatever, your mojo.
Joie de vivre.
Joie de vivre, as they say in Yorkshire. Right. Lads, thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate your time. Best of luck for the rest of the year, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks, man.
Lads,
Yeah, thank you.
take it easy. Good job. Thanks, boys.
Take care.
Ta-ra.